Welcome, everyone. I know it's been a while, hence the title of the video, Where Are We Now? This video has been probably a long time coming, 7 months in the making, only because over the summer and I guess into fall and winter, at some point I was trying to realize, okay, where am I going with everything? The build, the team, drifting, this beautiful garage that I was so grateful to have. Um, it's in my apartment complex, so it's just nice not to be working on the concrete slab that some of you may have seen, which is at my in law's house. I can actually work on the car when it's raining, snowing, whatever might come my way. But it's one of those things where I've realized that along the way, I haven't actually been keeping up with making content or any of my social medias, Instagram and YouTube being the main ones. So I figured I'd throw this video together, just explaining of what's going on and what is to come. So I guess you could say this all starts back in June. I want to say June. Yeah. So we welcomed our son. He is now about to be 9 months old. So that's how long it's been since he's been born. And my wife was at home, obviously. What is that called? Postpartum? No. Anyway, I don't know. But she was at home recovering. And so it was just me really kind of working, and obviously I can't work, pay bills, and then put money into the drift car, which anybody who knows, it's project cars get expensive really quick. I mean, unless you're doing like just minor maintenance and refresh, even then you're still spending at least $1,000 or $2,000. But obviously, with this being a dedicated drift car, it has gotten pretty expensive. I think I'm at almost SR today budget pricing and just trying to get a KA S13 running. So that was like, okay, I knew I needed to be an adult and just put the car on hiatus, do free things, as my wife would so solely put it, do free things to the car. So that was the whole thing. Um, and I had realized that, okay, free things, they're good and all, but it can only get me so far. But then I had just kind of derailed. Focus my I didn't focus on one part of the car. Like I kept jumping around from the drivetrain to the body to the electrical and everything. So I derailed myself of what was the goal and everything, which led me to be unmotivated, be frustrated because of things going on with the car, and throwing unnecessary money, which nobody wants to throw unnecessary money at a project car. So I had a couple of friends come over here and there. They kind of helped me out and just obviously just chilled in my little humble affair, which this is kind of like the first, I guess you could say, version of what I eventually want to achieve, which is a bigger workspace, bigger garage. Most definitely, crossing fingers, a lift. So that this is like just like the little piece of me to what is to come in the future. So as I was saying, I had friends come over and we were tinkering on the car, this and that. Again, still without an actual to-do list or like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do no. It was like all over the place. It's been like that, I think, almost since I purchased the car, which I'll get into that momentarily. Um, so again, it made me lose motivation. Then came what has probably been the biggest dilemma, which is the no spark issue. Now, I could go on for 10, 15 minutes trying to talk about the spark issue, and people will probably get bored within 5 minutes of it. So I'll try to keep it short and simple. In trying to get the actual car to start, um, that's a mission in itself. I have replaced everything but the ECU. I did rage quit on the original distributor. Only, I mean, that's just to give you a little insight on how frustrated I've been with this car. So I did rage quit, and so I replaced it. Paid like $300 for one off eBay. I'm going to cross fingers that's good. That it's a good working one. I was told by the eBay like a seller that is a known good part. I think I also replaced the what did I replace? Oh goodness, what did I replace? Oh, the external ignition coil, which that is a third party one from I believe Cardone, which is an O'Reilly's brand. Uh, I think that's good. Again, I wouldn't know because the main issue is no spark. Now, I've been tracing everything from grounds to are certain things supposed to have 12 volts with key on. That it keeps on getting to a dead end. So I practically replaced everything but the ECU. That if I was to show you, do I have them here? Oh, I think I do. Yes, hold on. If I stand corrected, this is the old crusty quote unquote manual ECU, which, I mean, just from looking at it, I don't have high hopes. It's rusty. It's probably had been submerged in water at some point. Don't mind the noise. There's just a uh, lawn truck coming by. So I'm kind of leaning towards it, the ECU just crapping out. Um, but it's a little hard to determine that, which that I'll get into in a second. Actually, we'll jump right into that. So the weirdest thing is going on, and this I guess will go into me talking about Nate, which a lot of people have asked what's going on with Nate. So I'll start with that before I get into the ECU story. So, for people who don't know, Nate is a really smart man. He was going to school for, I think, computer science engineering. I'm probably butchering that, but either way, he's a very bright kid. Has very like just everybody in that family is just super smart, like incredible. Like I felt like going in there, I'm like, yes, yes, very educational. Just trying to say big words to make sure I fit in. So I always knew that Nate's focus on drifting and I guess driving wasn't like his main priority, which I know I wasn't his parents' main priority. So it's something like they've invited me to my home, into their home, so I have to respect their wishes and obviously respect their home. But Nate's always had the priority of school and his career, which I've always envy that because there's been some points in my life where I didn't know what I wanted to do. Um, so I'm glad that he's always had like been on a straight path with what he wants to do with life. So with that being said, he did graduate from college and actually got a job in his career field of computer science engineering. That has taken up his all of his time, and therefore explains why he's been kind of like MIA. Like, I don't want people to think like we're no longer friends or we don't want to hang out or stuff like that. It's just that he's so busy, and I'm not gonna pull him away from essentially that a hobby unless you do competition or FD. You're not really gonna be making a living out of. Um, so it's I was like, you know what, man, I want you to know that I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to be your friend. And if you ever find the time to hang out, you know where I'm at. So I hope he is doing well. I hope to see him soon and just catch up. It doesn't even have to be car related. We can literally just chill. So that's the whole story about Nate. Moving on to the um, ECU situation. The last time I did see him, which was when I told him about and congratulating him on his new career field with the computer science engineering. I actually had taken over that rinky dink ECU and tested it out on his car, and it worked perfectly fine. Started up his car, no problem. He even claims that it was a little bit of a stronger start than the ECU he has currently in the car. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or what it might pertain to, but I'm still kind of sold that it's the ECU with problem with this car only because I probably have two or three different. Well, I know my body harness and my engine harness aren't the same. They're from two different vehicles, and I don't know if that plays a factor. However, this is the uh, body harness and chassis harness that I got with the vehicle, which was running perfectly fine. So I don't know where I gone wrong, but that's where I'll end the story about the electrical issue because, and this was just recently, I was talking to my wife and she had noticed that like I was just kind of like over the car and everything and potentially getting swayed into getting like a 350Z or a ZN6 FRS. And I was like, yeah, that might be like the way to go. That just because I'll have a running and driving car, and that I can work from there. But I then started to think, I've owned this car for 2 years. In May, it'll be 2 years. You know what I've not done to this car? Give it a once over from bumper to bumper. What do I mean by that is I bought the car in May of 24. It was running and driving with the old KA that I had in there, which that's another story I will get into in just a second. I completely forgot about that one. So it was running and driving with that KA. It just needed to be pieced back together because the person before me had some intentions of doing some rust repair and body work. So he removed all the interior out of the car. So we picked up the car, Nate and I, for $2,500. I know, $2,500 running and driving in 2024. That was really easier said than done. And I couldn't believe to this day, the guy's actually a pretty amazing guy. Like, him and I have spoken on and off over the course of these past 2 years. So nonetheless, we picked it up running and driving. And instead of me doing the right thing and kind of refreshing it, doing everything I want to do to the car, that way I know it's set up, potentially doing the rust repair that the guy had started so I can apply carpet. I said, "Hey, there is a drift event coming up at our local track. Let's get the car ready for this." All we did was make sure that the car was going to be running and driving and that there was a bucket seat and harness bar for this event. We did not reserve over any fluids. I think we did an oil change, and that's about it. So we just kind of jumped right into it. And we didn't necessarily pay the price, but our first event, we were having some uh, like just issues as far as keeping it running, which we then found out at the second event, it was our fuel pump. So that was a whole thing. That was kind of like where it should have been like, okay, we need to kind of look over this car and change out the necessary things because a little history about this car was it's seen several swaps, as most S chassis have. This at one point, I think, had a LS3, an SR, obviously the factory dual cam KA, and then now it had a KA, and when I bought it, it had a KA. So it's just like it's would explain the mangling of wires, because instead of buying like a harness for a swap kit, they were just doing splicing into which it wasn't the guy I purchased the car from fault. It was actually the previous owner, where he would just, I guess you could say, recycle motors but keep the chassis. So uh, I think I had the intentions of doing that after the second event. We swapped out fuel pumps, and it completely ignored the fact that we still haven't looked over the car. Um, that's when I had bumped into this pretty awesome dude named Josh. He had himself a S13, and but it was almost like me now, where he like almost nearly abandoned the project just because he didn't have the time to get it running, work, and at home life. He had we had kind of offered to trade drive trains and everything. And I said, yeah, man, because he had an SR, and I am a diehard SR fanboy. So that was definitely something I wanted. And we did the trade. We got his running flawlessly. He was excited. I'm excited. I was excited for him. Um, then we worked on my SR. Again, like an idiot, I did not give it a refresh. I don't even think again, we just did, I believe, plugs and an oil change on this SR. That, again, it's at what the time, a 30-year-old motor. And he told me that it's been sitting in his shed for 3 years. I don't know why I was such in a rush to get back out on the track, but people who've probably been drifting for a while know the adrenaline rush of being out and drifting at almost every event. Um, so again, that whole need to drive bit me in the ass again, and the SR ran for 20 minutes. Now, people are probably going to tell me in the comments, yes, you didn't refresh it, and how could you just, you know, like, might talk about bad about Josh. Josh didn't know. I took a gamble and lost. I tried to think SR that hasn't ran in a couple of years and that is a 30-year-old engine was just going to be fine after an oil change and oil change and tire rotation. Me talking like a tech, oil change and spark plugs, and that's it. Um, I don't even think I cracked open the transmission to check if the clutch was good. None of that. So SR ran for 20 minutes, and then that's when it blew. Obviously, Nate had extended his hospitality because the car was at his house, and I knew that as much as he extended his hospitality to do a complete rebuild at his house, when I knew where he was going with that in life as far as schooling and work, wasn't feasible. So we had moved the vehicle to my in-laws' house in Burlington, North Carolina, on a concrete slab, which I thought was a great idea because I kind of had an idea of to set up a garage around it, just didn't have the funds. So I said, okay, if I need to work, I'll set up a tent, this, that, and the other. Well, then came my wife getting extremely busy with work, and just me not having the time to drive there all the time because it was an hour drive. And when I did, I was either fighting weather or nighttime. And then came nighttime bugs. Trust me when I tell you, I hate the countryside at nighttime and mosquitoes. So that went on, tried to go on for like 8 months. I tried my best. I did some work there. Don't get me wrong. There was even times in the middle of dead winter where I was out there at 3 in the morning. And let me just tell you, on the countryside, you hear some noises at 3 in the morning, and just like, oh my God, what the hell was that? So that didn't happen. And then that's when I finally like just bit the bullet and said, let me just get in a garage at my apartment complex where not only will I be able to work on the car comfortably, but I won't have to drive an hour. So I think the once that happened and I started getting set up in here is when the 240 started to once again, like the ball started to roll. Like, got the car back in here, got the engine in, and everything started to go. I was like, okay, this is the flow that have been looking for the past 10 months. Again, I saw the same patterns of me just focusing on the car to get it running, which most people would do that. Yes, it would be the smart thing to do. However, I have yet to look over the car, revise it, refresh things. So that again led me to not have motivation because everything's cluttered. Um, don't know where bolts are. Bolts are just if it fits, it ships kind of thing. So I again took 3 to 4 months off, and now I'm back at it with a peace of mind and a right vision to actually look over the car, revise it, and focus on just one section of the car. Like that's what I need to do. Focus on one section at a time because even I feel like when I do, and I have been, which I'll jump to that in a few moments. Uh, Maybe I will find something unplugged or a ground not connected that can essentially solve all their problems. That's what I've been wanting to do for the last 2 years. Look over the car, find things that are not connected or maybe cut, and either repair or completely delete them to allow the car to be a stylish street treatable drift car. That's my whole goal. So that's what we're at here, and we're again, as the title of the video states, where are we now? This is where we at. We are finally listening to my conscience and actually applying myself to working at one thing at a time, and again hoping that along the way things will reveal themselves that haven't been addressed, or things will just magically start to work because again I have actually refreshed everything. So without further ado, I will jump into what I have been doing behind the scenes. um I've been, let's see, I actually have a to-do list here. So just so I can stay on track, I've made myself a to-do list. And instead of putting on a list and everything, just focus on the things that come to my mind. Like for instance, clean out the interior, vacuum. I mean, there was literally bits of what's that? Like plastic or whatever they what's that stuff? God, I can't think of it. The sound deadening. There was enough sound deadening to make a whole nother thing in there. So, because I did use a little bit of dry ice in there and broke off some of the things, I just left it in there. I said, it's whatever, And now I'm just like, okay, now I'm just disgusted by the interior of the car. So I've done so far the passenger and driver seat. I don't know if I'll have time today to jump to the trunk, but once the trunk is done, that will be done with the cleaning of the interior because I did do a black dash instead of the doo-doo brown one. I still have brown door cards. So if anyone's selling black door cards with power windows, please drop it in the comment and I will get in touch with you. After the cleaning of the trunk, which will complete everything, Nate did do a battery relocation, and I just kind of don't like where it's at. And it only allows me to put I think it's like a 51, which is a 51 group, which is like a Honda Accord or Honda Civic battery. I want to actually put the right group size in it, so I'm going to remake the battery box or battery relocation in the rear. So that's the second thing. And those are my two things. So two things at a time. Once I cross that out, then we can move on to that. So that's just a little bit of what's to come. I'm probably going to do a video of the battery relocation because it's already there, but it was half-assed. And when we got the car, we didn't address it. We just winged it, which could be the cause of my spark. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It again goes back to me saying, if I just slow down and work at my own pace, focus on something, it could unveil. That's the whole thing. I could be doing the battery location, and by just doing it properly and getting the proper equipment, long behold, I could be seeing spark back. And then everything was just because, again, I didn't actually look over the car and give it a proper refresh. So I think I'm going to stop the video here because I've been able to not only let you guys know where I have been, what's been going on in the background, and what is to come. I think I covered everything, and yeah, I'm pretty happy about this video. This is, like I said, the third or maybe fourth take of this. Again, thank you for everyone who's been patient. Thank you to my 23 subscribers. I forgot to give you guys a shout out. I don't personally know who you guys are. I don't even know if you can see that, who subscribed to you on YouTube. But to whoever you guys are, thank you. Thank you for giving me the chance and actually supporting me. I hope too that 2026, now that I have a clear peace of mind, will be a lot clearer. I definitely have motivation. Don't get me wrong. I have all the tons of motivation in the world. So definitely stay tuned for what's to come. I'll definitely be trying to drop things on a weekly basis, maybe like reels and shorts, probably like 2 to 3 times a week, just to keep you guys like informed of everything going on. But I hope this has been a great experience. I hope people can hear me, because another issue of me was I was having the mic like down here clipped to my hoodie, but then my hoodie strap so it just brush against the mic and you would hear it. So thank you again. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.